All right, so like we said, we are gonna work on our story Bad Boy still, so I'm gonna present my screen so that everybody can see it, just like we have been. There we go. And we're gonna open up Bad Boy under ELA. So ELA, Bad Boy. It'll open up in your separate window. Eventually. There we go. Nope. There we go. All right, so I'll give everybody a minute to get there. Let mine load. I'm gonna make sure everybody here is good while you guys online get good too. Alrighty. So everybody here is good. How are we doing online? You guys get it all pulled up?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. So for Bad Boy today, I'm gonna hide the top part. We already did all of the making meaning stuff. So if you have not finished the stuff under making meaning, that's where you're gonna wanna finish things up later. Comprehension check is for a grade, so make sure you do the comprehension check, as well as the analyze, craft, and structure, that very bottom one. Those are the two that I'm grading. So at the very least, make sure you finish those two. Okay. Today, though, we are going to do only language development. We're actually going to do all of them. They won't take very long. But we'll do 4 of them. We're not doing the evidence log. We'll do 4 of them. So under language development, we're going to start with concept vocabulary. Okay, we've already talked about these words a little bit. We know what respected means, and we can always click on it. For those of you that are not in person, that was actually the, you know how on the announcements in the mornings, they talk about like a word of the day? Yeah, our word of the day today was respect. So we actually talked about this today. Mrs. Leonard talked about it. But to respect someone is to honor them, to treat them well and nicely, respect them as a person. Our other one, desperate, is extreme suffering, or suffering the extreme need or frustration for something. You don't have very much hope about it. Things like that. They're desperate for something. And finally, disgusted. There's like the physical reaction of being disgusted, where you might like throw up because it's disgusting, versus like the emotional feeling of being disgusted by something. You really don't like it. You're annoyed by it. So you're disgusted. So those are our 3 words. We're gonna do this notebook section right here first. It says all of these words are related. Write down your ideas. Wait, what am I trying to say? This part. Determine what the words have in common. What do these 3 words have in common? What's similar about them? Any ideas? Lottie? They have to do with the way you act. Good. They have to do with the way you act and the way you feel, right? Because you can feel like you're respecting someone and you can act like you're respecting someone. You can feel and act desperate, and you can feel and act disgusted. So good. That's what those ones have in common. Yep. I think that's as big as I'm going to be able to make it, Charlie. Well, did I pin it yesterday? Did that work? Did I do that? Yeah.
Charlie, do you work last?
I tried to make it bold and it didn't work, so there's that too. So these three words are thoughts and feelings that you might have. And then it asks us if we have any other words that we might be able to add to that category, something else that has to do with the way you act and feel. Any words that might fit in that category?
Happy.
Happy. You can feel and act happy. Disappointed. Any other words that might fit in that with that group? Mad. Good. Any other ones? Yeah. The way that you act. You can act frustrated. Good. And feel frustrated. Good. So there's a lot of things that you can act and feel. Most emotions, actually, right? Because usually your emotions aren't only happening inside. Usually it affects what you do outside too. Like if I feel mad inside, I'm probably going to be mean on the outside, right? Yeah. Things like that. Good. Give you guys a second to type those ones out. Does it get smaller if I close that? No, we can still kind of see it. I'm just going to scroll down because the next part is something that you guys are going to work on. So this next part is checking your understanding of these words and using them in a brief paragraph. But I'm going to change that a little bit and just ask you to write a sentence with each of the words in it. So the first one, you're going to write a sentence using respected. Number two, you're going to write a sentence using.
Can we take off suffixes and prefixes?
Yeah, that's fine. As long as you use the root word of respect, that's fine. Desperate. Spell it. D-E-S-P-A-R-A-T. Desperate. Good. And three, write a sentence using disgusted. Okay, so there's three sentences to write there. And I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes to be writing those sentences, okay? So we're finishing up that concept vocabulary. It's a nice and quick one. Discussing the words, writing some sentences. Take about 5 minutes. realize it's hard to see up there on that one. I scroll down a little bit. There we go. About 2 more minutes.
I'm done.
Perfect. Do about 1 more minute, and then we will move on. You guys can write those sentences if you need to come back to them. No yawning in the class. I don't know. Makes everybody else tired. Alrighty. So if you need to finish those sentences later, you're more than welcome to go back to it. I'm just going to close this notebook so it's there. And that's all we're doing for concept vocabulary. So I'm just going to scroll up and close that one so that we have some more room. We're actually going to skip the word study. We're not going to do that one. So lucky for us, we're going to skip it. We are going to do the word network though. So open word network. This is the one where we add words that have to do with childhood based on this story, right? So the word network, when we open that notebook, we're just going to write down a few words using Bad Boy, using this story that remind us about childhood, maybe. Juliana?
Playing.
Playing. Okay. What else could we add? Reading.
Writing.
Writing. Say again?
Hiding.
Hiding. Oh, like hiding things from people? Hiding.
Playing basketball.
I'm going to put secrets next to that one too because I feel like as children, you guys keep a lot of secrets from adults and things like that. Say it again. Bullying. Yoshi, you said one too. What was it?
Basketball.
Basketball. Anybody online have any?
Hiding.
Yeah.
Sports.
Sports? Anybody else online have one that maybe we can add?
School.
School. That's a good one for kids.
Shy, wasn't he shy?
He was a little bit shy about his reading, right? Good. Juliana, you had one?
Friends.
Friends? Are you saying adults don't have friends? No, it's fine. Friends are a really big part of childhood, right? Like, they're a big part of adulthood too, but I feel like in school, friends are a pretty big deal. And things like that. Anything else we can add to that list? That's a really good list from the story. I like that one a lot. Any other ones that you guys can think of, maybe?
Hockey.
Hockey was one, but we put sports. So,
Librarian.
say again.
Librarian.
The library, the librarian. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a minute to type that one out. That was a lot of words, so we'll give you a minute. Got one more minute. If you don't get all of them, that's okay. We wrote a pretty long list there. I have to go look for it, but I'm pretty sure that every time we do the word network, it adds to like a bubble chart, you know, like those bubble map things about childhood. So it puts childhood in the middle and it makes bubbles of all the words that we think remind us of childhood for all of the stories we've done. I think. I'd have to go look for it. I think it's somewhere in this program, but I haven't tried. But I think that'd be pretty cool to see all the words that we thought represent childhood. Alrighty, I'm gonna close it. If you got most of these, you're good. Just make sure you have a few of these in your thing, in your notebook. I'm gonna close the word network, and we're gonna finish off with the conventions part of this. So fourth one down, conventions. This is the one that talks about grammar and things like that. We're gonna talk about adjectives and adverbs today, and identify some adjectives and adverbs in some sentences. And then we'll be done with ELA for the day. Just a quick one. We're going to skip that one today. We're not going to do it. Can you copy and paste it? Good. Yeah, put it in the word network one. So adjectives and adverbs are parts of speech, right? Different parts of speech that just give you more description in your sentences. So this says, writers use adjectives and adverbs to make their writing more precise and lively. An adjective is a word that describes a noun or a pronoun. And it's underlined in blue, which means it'll give you more information if you click on it. Maybe. If you guys click on it, does it pop up? No? Maybe it's just underlining it. Like, this is a key word, but I can't open it. So maybe it doesn't give us any definitions there. That's all right. It does say it after that, right? It describes a noun or a pronoun. Typically, an adjective will answer one of the following questions. What kind of something? Which one? How many? Or how much? So I'm just going to highlight that because that's typically the question you want to ask yourself if you're looking for an adjective. Okay. The chart below is going to show some examples of adjectives. Adjectives are going to be things like colors, numbers, words that describe people, like their height and things like that. So if we open up that activity and look at some examples, so if you ask yourself what kind, so it could be a brick house, brick is an adjective there. A piece of white paper, white is your adjective. American cheese, American is the type of cheese. Yeah. Okay. So what kind is, like, literally what kind of this thing are you talking about? The next one is which one. So which type of person, which this, which that. So that represents or talks about which type of judge. Each talks about which answer. My talks about which sister, which person's sister. So this one answers the question of which one. The next one, if we are asking ourselves how many, this one is definitely like numbers, like one lion. There's one lion, one is your adjective. Several roses is the amount of roses that are in your bushel, I guess. I don't know. And then both represents both brothers. So it describes multiple brothers. Okay?
This one's adjective.
This one's adjective, yep. And then the last one is how much of something you might have. You have no time to do something. No is going to be your adjective. We have enough sugar to make the cookies. Enough is your adjective. We have some milk for your cereal. Some would be your adjective. So it's just describing how much of something you might have. Okay, so those are adjectives. They describe a noun in your sentence. Adverbs, on the other hand, are a little bit more difficult. That's okay. We got this. Let's see. Can we click on adverb? Nope. An adverb is a word that modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So when you're looking for adverbs, you want to ask yourself where, when, in what way, or to what extent. These are the 4 questions that help you decide if they're adverbs instead of adjectives. I'm running out of breath. This chart below is going to show some examples of adverbs. When we do our activities down below, when you're identifying if something is an adverb or an adjective, I highly suggest you go back and look at these charts to give you some examples and use these questions. Ask yourself the questions, okay? So for adverbs, if we look at this chart, the first one is talking about where something is. So pushed is a verb, and to describe the verb, we're going to use the word down. The person was pushed down. That's why it's an adverb, describing the verb. Okay? So they were pushed down. That's where they were pushed. They were standing nearby. It's where they were. They will walk over there. It's where they were. It's their place, where they are going, or where they've been. Okay? The next one is when something happened. So we will leave soon. We went yesterday. We swim often. So it's when it's happening. The next one is the most common type of adverb you're going to see. Usually they just add ly, and it makes it an adverb. So they work carefully, smiled happily, they chewed noisily. We all know someone that chews loud, so I relate to that one. So if they add ly, it's usually an adverb. Those ones describe in what way it's happening. So it's happening carefully, happening happily. And our last one, to what extent? We nearly won. They fully agree. We barely ate. So these describe the extent to which something is happening. Okay, and again, just use this chart to help you out when we do a couple of problems below. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. We're going to do this read it section. Only the read it part. If you scroll down far enough, there's a part that talks about writing a paragraph. We're not doing that. I'm not asking you to write a paragraph today on this part. We're only going to do numbers 1, 2, and 3 for read it. Okay, are you still with me online? Still doing good? Good.
Yeah, good.
Alrighty. So for read it, they're giving you some sentences from the story, working individually, so on your own, and this will be graded, so take your time and try and do your best on it. You're going to identify the underlined words and tell me if they are an adjective or an adverb. Okay, so we're going to do number 1 together, which means you're going to get 2 points automatically. So if you don't do number 1 with us, then you are just losing 2 points. So do number 1 with us. So our first one, sometimes. I'm going to write these down. Sometimes, and we'll just say if it's an adverb or an adjective, and then we have rainy. Okay, so we have our 2 underlined words. I just typed them out so that we can write if they're an adjective or an adverb.
I put sometimes it's a.
That's fine too.
rain,
That totally works. Yeah. So number 1, the sentence says, sometimes on rainy days, I would sit in the library and read. So let's talk about the word sometimes. When you're asked, when it says sometimes, is it telling you when, how often, where, what kind? How often? Okay, so it's talking about how often something is happening. So let's go look at our charts up here and our questions. Does it say anything about when, to what extent, how often? Not an adverb. Doesn't necessarily say an adjective too. What are you guys' thoughts? What do you guys think it might be?
How
Describing
much?
and how much. Okay, so let's look at the adjective here. So we're seeing how much something is happening or how many. Okay. Like that. Let's look at the adverb really quick and see if it could go under any of these. It's not a where, not really, it could be a when, could be a to what extent. So this is where you guys have to decide what you think it might be. In this case though, sometimes is going to be an adjective. Yeah. Because it's a when, yeah. This is when something is happening, right? It's happening sometimes. And it's still describing the nouns, right? Sometimes this thing is happening. And then we need to decide on rainy. This one's describing the word day. It's describing a noun. And we know that which one describes nouns. Adjective or adverb. I heard both things. What was yours? Yoshi says it's an adjective. And Charlie said it is. Which one did you say, Charlie? To what extent? Yeah, but this one's going to be an adjective. This one's describing what kind of days, right? Because you could have sunny days, rainy days, hot days, cold days. So this is an adjective that describes what kind of day. Okay, so this one's an adjective. Adjective. Okay. So if you notice, you have a 50% chance of getting the correct answer if you don't know. It's either one or the other. So at least you might get, if you have to guess, you at least have a 50% chance of getting it right. Okay?
Can sometimes be an adverb?
I think it can too.
Describing set?
I think so too. I think it can be both.
And that's what Dallin was shooting for.
Yeah. I think, Dallin, you made a good point too. Mr. Turner just told me about it. Sometimes I think can be both an adjective and an adverb in this case, which is nice. Yeah. I'm going to put or, because it could be both, which is not very straightforward for you guys at all. Makes it a little bit more confusing, doesn't it? But it's all right. Take your time. Do your best on these. And yeah. That's what you're going to do for the rest of these. So I'm going to close this one. Number 2 has 1, 2, 3 words. So you have always, 2, and young. Those are the 3 words for number 2. You want to describe or tell me if those are adjectives or adverbs. Okay, so those are the 3 you'll do for number 2. And number 3, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 in this one. So you have full court as 1. And few, nasty, other, and small. Okay, so there's number 2 and 3 for you. And you need to identify those 8 words, whether they're adjectives or adverbs. Yeah, Charlie. It's either an adjective or an adverb. Honestly, it could be both. Okay, so that's going to be the rest of the day today is finishing this up. Those of you online, as you finish it up, you're more than welcome to head out. And yeah, we'll see you at 10:15.